Holy shit, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse is here. And I can't do a non-spoiler review of this movie because I don't know really what's a spoiler here because the trailers do not tell you anything about this movie. And there is so much stuff that happens that I've guaranteed if I do a spoiler review, which I'm doing right now, I'm going to miss shit in this colossal mammoth of a fucking movie. Wow. Just wow. I guess we'll start with the non-spoiler things and I'll just warn you when I get into spoilers. But again, it's going to be very hard to not talk spoilers because it's a really hard movie to identify what's really a spoiler and what's not. So first thing I want to say is I really enjoyed, of course, the animation. Everybody talks about this. But what's specifically great about this movie compared to the first one, it is that same animation style, is now we get different animation styles mixing and going into, because we're going in a different universe, these are animated very different styles, and that's awesome. You get a little CGI in there, you get a little traditional, you get a little all kinds of different mixtures of styles. You get some live action in here at a couple moments. Not gonna say from what, and it's not what some people might be thinking from some rumors, but just saying there's some live action elements in here, thrown in here through there. The movie is written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I believe the first one was not written by them, but this script you could tell is kind of written by them because there's a lot more jokes that made me laugh out loud and hit a lot stronger than the first one. Maybe that's just me though, because the first one was already a pretty funny movie, but this one to me was even funnier. The pacing in this movie was really good, though. I mean, this movie is really long and it does feel that way, but honestly feels that way because there's so much happening and you're just waiting for the story to wrap up at a certain point because you felt like you've kind of, there were a couple points where I thought they could have trimmed down this movie a little bit and bled it right into the next one, but I don't know if that's necessarily true because I haven't seen the next one. So otherwise the pacing was fine for me. The character stuff, all the writing there is just fantastic. The score is once again excellent. And yeah, let's get into spoilers. So the movie starts off and does like a solid 10-minute sequence in Gwen's world. In fact, Gwen kind of kicks off the story here, which was really interesting. I mean, this is still Miles' movie, but Gwen is very much a co-lead in this movie. We're seeing her develop a lot more than Miles throughout the story. In fact, you can tell that they're saving a lot of Miles' development probably for the next movie, at least the conclusion of his arc. Meanwhile, Gwen feels like she almost finishes most of her arc in this movie, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, but you get to see her universe, and you get to see her have to fight off this vulture version, but it's not her vulture. It's a vulture from a different universe, and we get Spider-Man 2099 and this other chick I'm forgetting the name of, the one pregnant Spider-Man, who I will just say, there's going to be a certain crowd who will complain about that character being pregnant and fighting crime and being alongside them. And you know that those type of people that will be complaining about that. What? A black woman who's pregnant fighting crime? That's unbelievable. Women belong in the kitchen, sort of thing. I'm joking, but I'm just saying the way they actually handled it in the movie was actually really cool. And I like that character. But yeah, she sees them, and they kind of bait whether to recruit her for their little spider squad. And they decide to do it after this tense conversation between her dad trying to arrest Gwen for supposedly killing her version of Peter, which we know he died from the first movie, but now that he knows she's Gwen or Spider-Man or Spider-Girl, whatever, you get the point. Now it's a lot more personal, and there's a certain level of it to that. So I like that kind of stuff right there. I thought that was really a powerful character work. But yeah, that kind of thread was left hanging throughout most of the movie, and when we eventually come back to it, it became a really sweet thing. Anyways, I really like Gwen and her father's relationship in this movie. But then, we kind of cut back over to Miles, and we kind of get introduced to the Spot. And here's what I'll say: the Spot at the beginning of this movie is a dork. He's like robbing an ATM, and like he's not doing it right. He's kind of a dummy, right? And that kind of works because that's how us, the audience, would see this character at first. But they do a really good job of making you understand very clearly this dude is a threat and is dangerous. Yep, Miles kind of laughs him off. Yeah, he's kind of a joke at first. But this dude becomes dangerous. Holy shit. What a stupid thing, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. How well they really balance the Spot in this movie, because a character that could have come across very wrong. I didn't think he would, but I think there was always that potential, and I think some people would have been nervous about that. But they really handled this character so well. It actually made me kind of like the character, and I do feel bad for the character. Also, what I really liked was when they kind of hinted for the first couple moments that he somehow knows who Miles is, and they tie it into the fact that you know, uh, Miles created this villain, which is great because there's personal stakes with this villain, and there's a reason he's the way he is, and that's interesting. You know, the best Spider-Man villains are the ones that tie into the fact that our personal relationship, the Spider-Man's personal relationship with them, right? That's why I don't like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies that much, because all their villains feel like Tony Stark villains and not really Spider-Man villains. But this is kind of what I look for in a villain. Anyway, and also tying it into the fact that one scene where Miles threw a bagel, because if you actually watch that scene, you can literally hear his voice, and he just says, "He threw a bagel!" Like, so they said that line in the background, and that's a really funny moment that I did not catch till like the third time I watched that movie. That's how many little details are put into these things that you could watch this movie like 8 or 9 times and still not notice little things like that. So tying it into that stupid little gag that it literally meant nothing, and now it's an essential part of the storyline, which is just hilarious. Anyways, we kind of get some vibes of what's going on with Miles and his dad, and he's kind of debating on telling his parents that he's Spider-Man because he keeps like basic Spider-Man stuff, right? He's not showing up to things, he's on time, he's late, and he doesn't know what's going on, and then he gets to and then Gwen shows up, and it's very clear that she's not there to visit with Miles. She did want to check up on Miles because it's clear that they have feelings for each other and they want to form a relationship, but Gwen's hesitant because of her past with relationships, can't really, and then also the fact that like she said it best, most Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy relationships don't work out, right? So there's the storyline there, and you're like, okay. But I think their story is very unique, and so I don't think it will be like that. I think it will end up working out right, because I don't think there's really a comic version of this where Miles and Gwen Stacy hook up. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's versions of Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy hooking up, but those are very different, and I think that's kind of what's interesting here. So I thought that was a cool conversation. But yeah, seeing her swing around, and then we, realize that she let the Spot go. That's what they were there to stop, because she's letting her personal feelings get attached. So then she leaves, and of course Miles gotta go after her, because look, he wants that pussy. He's gotta go get it. I'm joking, but that's basically what it is. He jumps through the portal, goes into the Spiderverse, and gets kind of initiated with their Spider Squad. He stops a murder that was supposed to happen and is an essential part of the timeline, which, and we learn all about that. And you kind of get 2099's backstory, which I thought was interesting. And yeah, Oscar Isaac plays that character so well. He gives him a real menacing tone to him. He also gives the right amount of humor and inflection to his voice. I just think it's all really great. Oscar Isaac, one of my favorite actors. He's great in the movie, in this part. Anyways, Um, why are my dogs going off right now? Anyways, get on to the next part of this. You know, we learned that one of the inevitabilities of the timeline is that, hey, Miles's father's got to die. And you're like, oh, shit. He realizes that the Spot is going to murder his father, so he wants to go get back and stop it. Well, which I think most people guessed this from the trailers. They thought that either Miles' dad was going to die, or there's going to be some scenario where Miles was going to have the opportunity to save him, and for whatever reason, that can't happen. And so he wants to save his dad. They're like, you can't do that. And it leads to this all-out chase with so many Spider-Man movies, or not Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man characters, tons of great gags, tons of great moments in here. Just lots of great. It's a wonderful action scene. It's just great. If you're a huge Spider-Man fan, you're going to get a kick out of that shit. It's just great. You're going to look in the backgrounds over and over again. You're going to see some awesome stuff in there. And then just some great stuff there. And then you get to, like, that revelation where 2099 literally looks at him and is just like, that spider was not meant to bite you as a spider for another universe. So yeah, that's crazy revelation, because now we know that Miles' whole existence as Spider-Man is a threat to the multiverse or whatever, which is insane. So he goes back to save his dad after this whole fight and ends up in the wrong universe because of that revelation, which is damn. And that's kind of our cliffhanger, and now Gwen's going to go find him and help save the multiverse. Holy shit, that's a lot. This is an incredible plot, and there's so many twists, turns, and reveals that make this movie more powerful, emotional. Seeing Gwen go back to her universe at the end and see that relationship play out with her dad, what a great thing. It's just like, all right. I just think that's silly. I'm like, all right. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know any of that crap. So, I don't know. That's a crazy story that's going on here. It's like, all right, I think this is all insane. And I just, like, literally leaving the theater. I just couldn't stop thinking about it because there are so many things. I'm just struggling to handle everything. What I might do is literally go watch this movie, like, at least 2 more times. Just because one of my biggest regrets as a movie-going person is not seeing Into the Spider-Verse more than once in the theater. But this movie is so much more than that. I went to the bathroom at a couple points, missed some things. I gotta go watch this again. There's so much here, and it's incredible. I guess we'll talk about a couple jokes that I didn't mention that I really liked. I liked the Spot coming in, testing his portals, and ends up in the Venom universe and sees that shop owner that Eddie keeps going on into, and she's just not freaked out by some weird animated portal dude. That was fucking funny. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of actually live action footage of other Spider-Man movies, a lot of great references there. And just seeing Donald Glover as the Prowler in live action held captive, I'm like, all right, that's great. That was funny. Yeah, it's just an awesome, awesome movie. I just can't believe how great this movie is. Honestly, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you gotta watch this movie. I mean, that was a given, but still, this is better than any of us could hope for. This movie has more than any of us could have hoped for, and this movie will blow everybody's damn mind. And it's also just great to watch a movie in the theater where the trailers tell you nothing about what this movie is, and you will just fully not understand it. And you won't. I'll explain. You will fully get so much more watching this in the theater because of that, and it's gonna be an example of how to market movies, because how fucking incredible this movie is. Just goddamn. I already loved Into the Spiderverse, but this movie is its own level of god tier, and just damn.